Hi everyone. All right. I hope we are live in the tuple keeping event group. I've had a bit of a technical snag, so I'm just refreshing the page. Bear with me. It doesn't look like anyone's joining yet. Let's see. Oh, good. There we are. We're live. Amazing. Technology on my side for once. Oh, so good to be here. It was so incredible how much was coming up for me as I was preparing for today's class, today's gathering. This is a really what this is me sharing this kind of extremely intimate journey that I've been on with my stuff this year, since the spring when I found out I was pregnant. I really want to share this story of how, and you can see behind me now, I live this like very temple-like existence now, which is not always the case. At all of my spaces, I feel like have altars built into them. Hi, Sarah. Oh, so good to see you too. And I just want to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about the way that I live and how the transformation that I've been through this year has really changed me in a profound way. Hi, Sarah. Oh, we have two Sarahs. Fun. And I also want to talk about how essential oils have come into my life and really supported this transition for me. I have been really impressed by the strength of essential oils, and just like how much of a punch they can carry, really, especially when it comes to our bodies and our homes and all of these things that make up our, the things that we're physically interacting with on a day-to-day basis. But I first want to just start with like how this all came to be, because I've been through kind of an extreme journey with like things and moving and home and what does that mean, downsizing drastically this year. Really kind of just went on this dragon ride that I was not expecting. It was not what I expected, not what I expected to be going on. So, at the beginning of this year, let me kind of tell you where I was in January, February timeframe. I was really hustling, but I loved it. I had transitioned into being a spiritual entrepreneur. For a while, I was running my own business. Maybe even some of you watching this knew when I was doing more like business consulting and online business consulting for spiritual entrepreneurs. And then I made the switch that I wanted to be a spiritual entrepreneur, and I was loving it, and it was incredible. I was putting a ton of pressure on myself to really make that work. And so and that was, I had launched a mystery school, which is actually just now finishing up, which is kind of incredible. It's like a 13-month mystery school with a really intense curriculum. So there was quite a bit happening in my business and in my life, and I was juggling a lot, and I didn't realize it at the time. And what really it was interesting, because as a self-employed person, as a person who had created my own schedule, my own really my own schedule and my own life, and I had my daughter in daycare. I had my own office above our garage that was like my space for my work. Everything I thought was going like exactly how it was supposed to be going. And then I became pregnant with my second child unexpectedly. And that was that was the thing that kind of triggered me taking a look at what was going on for me, and where was I actually feeling really at home and really happy, because at the time we were living in a house that was it was adorable. It was in this great little neighborhood. We had a big yard, a garden. Like I said, I had my own, like my own office space, which so many people would just be like, that's incredible. And it had it was separate from the rest of the living space. So I really could go up there and feel pretty separated from everything going on. Everything on I had Lincoln, my daughter, was in daycare 5 days a week. But then when I got pregnant, I realized how much of the maintenance of all of this and the pressure to pay that daycare bill for me, because that was coming out of my business account, and then on top of that, my own business expenses, and just how aggressively I was really trying to grow. When I became pregnant, I just realized, I don't know if I can keep doing this and be pregnant and add on another child into this home. And it really put me in a place of humility and a little bit of questioning, what am I doing? I don't want to be working this hard. I was working so many hours a week to sustain what I had built. And so I decided slowly to transition into taking a pregnancy pause at the beginning of this year. And some of you, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I did that. And I just decided, I was just trusting. I was just trusting that I knew there was a big transition for me ahead, and I didn't know we were going to be moving. I didn't know that I didn't know a lot of things, but I didn't know I was going to be going to Mount Shasta a few months later, which totally put me on this new trajectory in my life. So I leaned into trusting what I was being guided to do, which was to shut all of it down momentarily. Not stop it, but just pause for a moment. And really take a look at the way I was living, where my money was going, how much energy I was flowing through me and then flowing out of me. It was quite a lot. And I could feel myself on the path to burnout. I didn't burn out, but I could feel myself if I have to keep going this way, I'm gonna burn out. And so I trusted, and I put things on pause, even though I really believed in everything that I was doing. I could feel my guidance really saying let's slow down a little bit. And when I found out I was pregnant, it was very emotional for me, as you can imagine. If you've ever had a girlfriend go through, even if she already is a mother, even if it looks like everything's figured out, and you find out that you're pregnant and you're not totally prepared to find out that you're pregnant, it's emotional. There's a lot of feelings that come with that. And of course, I'm so grateful and I'm so excited about this second child, but let's be real for a minute. When that wasn't in the plans, it's oh my God. So it was at that time, so this was early spring, and it was at that time that I reached out to this woman that I just knew through Instagram, Faye Wilder. I felt and I knew her through a friend. Had just heard I was sitting in ceremony with Faye, and so I'd heard her name thrown around, but I'd never talked to her. And I was guided to send her an Instagram message. So I was trusting, and I reached out to her really vulnerably. It was just hey, I know you have 2 children. I am expecting my second. And our work is sort of she's definitely in this, very much embodying her priestesshood and connecting with Mary Magdalene. So I knew we would kind of understand each other's work, even though we had never spoken before. So I reached out to her, just sent her a message, and was just like, I don't know, I feel like I'm supposed to reach out to you, and I'm having all of these feelings. Oh my goodness, yeah, you've been there with your twins. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. When when I found out there was only one baby, I was like, thank God. I can imagine, Marie. I can completely imagine that. Yeah, there was a little bit of shock there for you. I would have been the same. So it's a tender time, isn't it? It's so, oh my gosh, yeah, such a tender time to get that news. It can be really overwhelming. So I was going through a lot of overwhelm, and that was part of the reason I think my guides were saying, like, reach out to Faye. I felt Mother Mary really pushing me towards her. And she sent me just this very sweet message back, like, you've got this, you know, like, it's all great. It's all a blessing, and it just made me feel better. And so then I knew the journey was going to begin to move. I soon knew, after I kind of came to terms with what was going on with my business, and then I was looking around at the house we were in and kind of realized that I hated living there. You know, our bathroom had like mold in the walls. There was just, we always had plumbing issues. There was always something going on with that house that was adding stress to our life. And after I took a break from I kind of realized, like, as I started working on the home, where I was like, I really don't like living here. This is not a very functional house. I don't like this. And it was at that time we started discussing downsizing radically. We started discussing what we wanted to call into our lives in the very near future. And for us, we knew that we wanted to live a lot more simply, have a lot less responsibility with the actual housekeeping that goes into when you have a home. And we were renting our home, we didn't own it, so our rent, our lease, we had been there 4 years. We had a wonderful landlord. Everything seemed pretty great, but there was just this, you know, this nagging, like, trust that you need that it's going to be time to move on soon. So we knew that we wouldn't be living there much longer, and so started opening ourselves up to thinking really differently for our family, and what would be the thing that would be the motivator to be the lily pad to then jump into the more heaven on earth home, is what we're calling it. So at that time, I became a full-time downsizer, which, if you've ever gone through this process, we were moving from, it was a 2-bedroom house, but we had a full basement, a full garage. Some of you may like have that in your life right now, you know, and a kid. And when you have a child, there's so many things that come into your life, like things. There's just a lot of things that come in. So, and some of that we were ready to let go of. Some of it we had duplicates of. We were so blessed. Hey, Nora. We were so blessed when we had my daughter. We just had a huge influx of secondhand things, just like a lot of things that we were holding on to but just really didn't need. So there were a lot of things to let go of, and I became a full-time for about 2 months. My day-to-day looked like really taking care of myself in that first trimester time, and then downsizing, going through every room, every closet, every drawer, every room. We got rid of at least 60% of our stuff, everything. And so this was a process of, and I wanted to make, you know, I wanted to honor these things. We had these, you know, it wasn't like we had a lot of clutter. I'm talking about, we had like a very manageable amount of things, but we wanted to radically downsize to having much less. So I started reading about minimalism and, like, how do you do that? How do you have a capstone wardrobe? How do you, you know, like, how do you really fall in love with every single thing that you have in your house? And so, excuse me, I've got notifications coming in. So So this became what I was doing for 2 months, was bagging up things, selling them on Facebook Marketplace, and researching where it was we were going to live next. And what we ended up finding was this place that we're in now, which is a 1-bedroom apartment. So our daughter sleeps in our living room and has a loft there. So she has her toys are underneath, and then she sleeps on her lofted bed, and the living room is kind of like a living slash playroom there. So anyway, so as we were making this transition, as I was downsizing, as I was trusting, not really knowing what am I doing, but I'm doing it. And I just knew that all of these things needed to go. I needed to feel lighter and needed to feel like I had more space. So right before we moved into this home, my husband and I took a spiritual pilgrimage together to Mount Shasta, California. And that was when, and in that time I had gotten to know Faye, right? So I had reached out to her before, and then I saw how she was posting about these oils, and she sent me some samples of oils right before I left for Mount Shasta, and so I took them with me. Actually, I think I have them right here. These beautiful little samples that here's a few of them. Yeah. Sacred frankincense, white angelica. She sent me these just like beautiful little bottles of oils, and with a lovely little note. And so I packed them up. They came right before our trip. So I packed up these oils and went to Mount Shasta with my husband, and our entire life totally it all became clear, right? If you've ever been to Mount Shasta, you might know what I'm talking about, but this place is just a complete vortex of it just all of it became clear, and why I was going through this transition, and why I was pausing at home, and why I was surrendering so much. And what I realized is that in my surrender, it was never about giving up. That's never how it felt, and that's why it was working. I never felt like I was giving up my power. I never felt like I was giving up my ambition or what it was that I wanted. And oh, Sarah, this is how you are too. You have a 1-bedroom with your son in the loft above the kitchen. That's awesome. It's a really liberating way to live. And so when we were in Mount Shasta, this was literally we were going to get back, and then we would be moved in. That's right. So we moved, got everything here, got on a plane and went to Mount Shasta. So we were going to come back, and everything was pretty much set up. We had a few boxes left, but we hadn't really lived here yet. And so in Mount Shasta, I took some notes on this story because I didn't want to forget any parts. But so we were in Mount Shasta, and this place was just deepening my understanding of how important it is for my environment, and all of the things needed to be. Oh, Hera's with us. Hey, Hera. Everything needed to be sacred for my work to feel good going forward, for my day-to-day life to feel good going forward, because I had taken my daughter out of daycare. I'm kind of being a stay-at-home mom, and I'm going to figure out how to continue to run my business. And I just wanted all of that to fall into place. And so this trip to Mount Shasta made that all really clear, and why it was all happening, and how important it is for the spaces that we live in, for every single thing that we have, for us to want to put energy into it, for that thing to honor our lives or bless our lives in some way. And that was what so much of that purging and letting go, and some of the energy attached to those things that we got as gifts, but we were holding on to them because just didn't know what else to do with it. We got rid of all of that stuff. We got rid of our huge TV, and it all went. And it was really liberating, really, really freeing to now be in a place where we just have a few simple things and a few simple focal points of where I work or where we live. So so I took these oils with me to Mount Shasta, and I started to realize, you know, I started to think about the things and the ways I was treating my body, caring for my body, especially being pregnant. That's always like that's always up for us, right? As women, if you've been pregnant before, for me, it was this big thing on my mind. Like, am I doing everything I can for my physical vessel? And that kind of came after I was really caring for our home in this way. And, you know, stenciling the gold paint. This is all hand stenciled behind me in our bedroom. I did one wall of this like kind of Egyptian thing. So when I'm laying in bed, I'm looking at this wall. My laptop's just here on my bed, and this is where I work now. And I have my altars set up and some special things and my oath of manifestation. And this is what I look at, and this is what I'm waking up to every day. And that's how I knew it needed to be when I got back from Mount Shasta, is that, you know, I needed these constant reminders of my connection to the divine. And as many of you know, one of the closest guides that I work with is the Ascended Master Isis, and she is such an excellent mentor in this, and leading us to the things of beautiful adornment that's going to help us feel empowered to step into what it is that we want to step into. When you start to mentor with Isis and bring her into your life, every single thing that you own and that comes in contact with your body, it becomes a sacred thing. And this becomes a practice of presencing. So she loves the details. She loves the details of our lives, and helping us make them beautiful and helping us make them really sacred. And that's what I could feel with what Faye was doing with her oils and the oils that she sent me. So I came back and I had a lot more curiosity about these oils because I was using them in Mount Shasta, and they felt like these little mini energy workers that I had with me. And so I started kind of creeping on her and paying more attention to her. And I'm thinking she may watch this, or she'll hear me say this and she knows this. So I feel good sharing about it. But and then I saw that she was a part of giving away this starter kit with Young Living. So then I was like, all right, it felt like, you know, I was trusting my guidance and the timing all felt right. So so then we moved here, and I started working with the oils and with elements of the earth in a way that I didn't at my old home. Even though I had a garden at my old home and I would make flower essences and things, I wasn't incorporating them and really putting them to work in my home in the way that I am now. Every day I'm working with plants in my life almost on an hourly basis, and it's become like it has increased the frequency of my home and of the way that I'm living in such a powerful way that that I wanted to share this whole journey with you so that you can kind of understand now. And then once I got into this kind of back here, moved in, settled, the Mount Shasta hangover, like we had its time to settle, then I could I felt like I could kind of come back online. I felt like I could start sharing some of this, but it didn't feel right for me to kind of see what a temple was supposed to be, and I wasn't living that way yet. And I was talking about like having an online temple and all of these things, and it didn't feel authentic to me because I wasn't really doing that in my own life. I was still very much caught up in this pace of living that wasn't suiting me very well. So, but now that's different. Now I am home and using lavender on my daughter to put her to sleep right at, like 12:55 so that I can jump on here at 1. And it's all, I have these allies with me. I have these plant friends who are working with me on a day-to-day basis, and I just feel really blessed and really kind of excited to share what this looks like for me now, and some of the details of what especially Isis has like come through me and showed me. You know, it doesn't have to, for me, housework, and I'm sure this is the same for many of you watching, if you're like housework, cooking, all of like that stuff, it's not, I have a lot of resistance. I have a lot of resistance to it. Doing the laundry, all of these things, I had to reframe it. If it was going to get done, and if it was going to be an enjoyable part of my life, which I wanted it to be, I want the clothes that I have to be honored and always put away. I want my bed to be made. You know, I want those things done. I don't always want to be the one who does them. So I had to find these like rituals and ways to make them feel really good for me. And that's, the essential oils came in and really helped me with that. So I just wanted to share some of the ways that I'm doing that. And I've got all of these oils here. Oh my gosh. Too many. I should have moved these over before getting started. Okay, so I've got this huge stack of oils. Some of these are going to be a bit more geared, not some of them. Actually, the ones that I will just say have supported me with pregnancy specifically, and a pregnant body, in case you're curious. And by a pregnant body, I just mean a mom body. Because even before I was pregnant, I was feeling pretty achy after a day with my daughter. She's a lot of, she's a little 30-pound, she's a lot of work. So let me grab some of those. Lavender, of course. Well, the two big ones that I think I'm just going to start, with the temple of my body, and starting to use essential oils there, and then I'll show you some of the oils that I use in the home and like the recipes that I've used. I'm not a huge do-it-yourselfer. I like to kind of mix like essential oils into a really basic product. I'm not a person who does a ton of like making my own. There's a few things that I enjoy doing, but I'm not a person who has like a bunch of homemade lip glosses and all of that. Like, I don't do my own shampoo, that stuff. I just don't. But I really like adding the essential oils into like a very basic, very, very clean product. So that's my approach. I want it to be really fast and really easy and really effective, and something that is going to help the frequency of my home. And like when I clean my floors, I know that there's essential oils and even sometimes like flower essences and things that I've put in there that are supporting the energy of this space. So I like to kind of do some energy work on the cleaning products and the things that I'm using. And then that makes it more fun for me. And having like a linen spray when I make my bed that is, a very heart opening, more geared towards my partnership with my husband Ben, so having these like special concoctions, but I don't go crazy with that. I'm not a big do-it-yourselfer when it comes to some of these, so I like the shortcuts a lot. Some of the things though that I just wanted to mention before getting into the more popular ones, like with pregnant, and I just started my 3rd trimester. I guess the camera doesn't really show that, but I've got a nice baby bump down here that's making me take deep breaths. So the 2 oils I've really loved that I just tried, and I didn't know about them until recently, it's Panaway and Digize. These are really, so this Panaway is amazing for like if you have achy shoulders or an achy back or just achy anywhere. It's like, it takes it away. It's amazing. So what I'll do is usually put this on after the shower. So I'll like oil up, and oh, Leslie says she loves adding essential oils and cleaning products on the floor specifically. I love putting them on the floor too. Cedar on the floor is something I really love. Yes, when you walk barefoot, I'm the same way. Yeah, my floor cleaner is the one. I totally agree. I brought that up because I put the most time into that bucket of water. I will add essences. But like a lot of clearing stuff, a lot of like I'll do a yarrow flower essence in the water, and then cedar essential oil I really like. And a trick for this that I've found, and I don't overdo it because I obviously don't want we have wood floors, I don't want to like ruin my floors. Orange is incredible, orange and cedar, so good. I will just take a tiny bit of salt and add my essential, just enough to absorb the essential oil, and then put that in the water. And I've found that that helps it kind of disperse so your oils aren't like sitting on top of the water. So that's something I do. It kind of depends on your floors and, you know, if you want to do that, but it's such a small amount of salt that I don't think it really like corrodes or like hurts anything. And I always add just a little bit of some sort of carrier oil to like help with conditioning the floors too, making sure not a lot, you don't want like slippery anything, but just a little bit. So I'm glad you brought up the floors. How do I spell? It's more of the word spell and like doing a spell, to me it's very similar as just a prayer and putting my hands over the water and with the intention. So for example, we'll just like use the floor cleaner for example. When I'm doing that, I like to imagine that I'm really clearing the space with cleaning the floors. I think it's incredible. Okay, sorry. Can you ask your question again? I'm on my mobile. The oil, I'm not sure what your question was, Marie. Can you ask it again? Because I'm not following. But I think I was getting into how I use Panaway, right? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Panaway was the oil I'm mentioning for pain relief or achy muscles. So like I have an achy back right now. Like my lower back is kind of achy. Oh, how do I spell it? I thought you were talking about like spell work. It's so me. It's Panaway. This one I got in the Young Living starter kit. That's why I own it right now. And it wasn't one that I knew anything about. It just came in the starter kit, and I started, isn't that funny? I started researching what it was good for, and it's for like pain relief. So you could add this to a roller ball, would be really good. That's actually what I should do soon. But I also have the Deep Relief roller ball from Young Living that I really, really like as well. So yeah, anytime I see the word spell, I mean, you know where my mind goes. And then the other one that I have been I just wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do is the Digize. So being pregnant, Digize is very helpful. I've had just a few, days where my stomach is not feeling super great. Yeah, I agree, Sarah. This Panaway is like, it's good stuff. I'm using it a lot. One time I actually took a bath, I was feeling really achy just everywhere and just kind of like drained. And I did a bath with about 10 drops in some salt again, in my bath water with the Panaway. And it's not the best smelling oil, but oh my gosh, after I was done with that bath, I just felt like I could go to yoga. It was incredible. It really, yeah, I agree. I think it really surprised me. And then I'm using it pretty regularly on my lower back, and the back of my legs have been a little bit sore. And then this Digize just right on my stomach or like in some water has been really nice. And just those times, when my stomach's not feeling its greatest, it's been really good too. So both of those were the ones that, I just felt really supported, really supported by them. Oh my gosh, and then I've got a whole slew of others. Some of the others that I'm using in my home itself would be Purification Lemon and Thieves. These three. Are there any others? Lavender I diffuse alike. Lavender I just use thinking about overproduction and overharvesting happening, thinking about how much. Okay, Hera, I want to answer your question, but I can't read the rest of it. So it might be one, since I'm on my phone. I wanted to do this on my desktop, but I had a bit of an issue with the software that I usually use, so I can't see your whole comment. The overproduction, overharvesting happening. I have found, at least in my research, and like I've talked to some people on my team about that, and I don't think the overharvesting is happening. I think that they take the products offline when if that's ever an issue. So as far as I know, that hasn't. Let me post about that in this group, because I'm still learning. And Sarah's here, so like, yeah. I thank you, Sarah, for chiming in about that too. So the ones that I'm using like around my house really regularly and with some like house things are these three, which again, these are all starter kit ones. I've got some other that are not starter kit oils that I can talk about here in a second. But I've got, so the Thieves, which I didn't know what that was. This is like a wonderful immunity supporter. And so Thieves I put into the floor cleaner and into my laundry. Where else was I adding Thieves? I diffused it when I had a feeling Lincoln was maybe getting a little something, so I diffused it with lavender. And so anything where I just want to make sure there's a lot of immunity support is lifesaver in diffusing during the fall and winter. It definitely has more of a fall and wintry smell too. It has a lot. I think that there's probably a lot of clove in here, because that's the first ingredient, is clove, lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus. So it actually is, it's really really pleasant to smell. But I agree, it's kind of a wintry one. Also one that I think I might want to put into some bread recipes, actually, some banana bread or something. So I think I'll be cooking with it. With laundry, I put a few drops of this in my actual laundry detergent. I don't have the Thieves laundry detergent yet, but I'm just using the rest of like my 7th generation thing, and I put a few drops of this in there, and I really like how it smells. I really like how it smells. And then I have those like wool dryer balls. Do you guys have those? It's you can find them, sometimes farmers markets carry them. We got them locally. There's a woman here who works with wool, and she makes these wool dryer balls, but you can find them on Amazon or online, and you put them in your dryer and they bounce around and help your laundry. And I put purification on the wool in the dryer. So I have both of those going on. I just really like my laundry to smell really good. So I've been using essential oils in my laundry for a while, but I really like these better. And then purification, I've been diffusing in my kitchen when things get we've got a small kitchen now, and the garbage can get really stinky because we don't have a diaper pail. That's just like, we just throw our diapers in the regular garbage. So like sometimes it can get a little smelly in there, and purification's really good, I've found, for just like completely eliminating any sort of smell. And then, yeah, thank you, Sarah. I couldn't read the full response from my phone, but I'll be able to see them later. But thank you for chiming in. What was I going to say? So if there's any sort of funky smell, and like when we first moved in, our garbage disposal was gross, and so this really helped with the cleaning of that too. I put some in baking soda, or baking powder, baking soda. I always get them confused. Whatever comes in that huge Arm & Hammer box is what I buy, and then that's what I use to scrub down my sink and things and bathtub. And I put a few drops of that on the sponge, and with the purification, and I really, really like that, as well as lemon. And that's the other, so those guys, like, okay, so you can see this wood, let me see if I can get this. Do you see this back here? Can I show that to you? It's like a painted dresser. For the longest time, this thing had like, I don't even know what on top of it, some sort of like things like glass rings, things that I just like with vinegar, it wasn't coming up. And I took lemon the other day, and I also burned a lot of incense and did a lot of things on these stands, and there was candle wax and like all sorts of, you know, the witchy things that happen to our furniture when we're doing our spell work and all those things. So I used lemon. I would put a drop of lemon, take my ring finger and just like rub it in, and then would just take a sponge and scrub it, and it actually came off. So like the top of these are now clean. They were kind of gross when I moved in, and I felt a little bit like, you know, it wasn't up to my temple keeping vibe that I was really being mentored with Isis about, like about keeping things super clean. And I was finally able to get the tops of these like really clean, like even the incense, that kind of the ash from the incense, that I don't know why it just wasn't picking up when I would spray it with vinegar and like wipe it down. But then I added some lemon oil in there and just like let it sit for a second, and it all wiped up, and now it's like completely white again on top. So that was kind of amazing the other day. Anything sticky, I have found that like lemon is taking care of it really, really well. So peppermint's amazing too, and now, okay, so like let's switch to other things that I'm using on my body. Last night I did an incredible facial on myself. I gave myself some time. I taught my mystery school class, which is just wrapping up, and then afterwards I was feeling very much like, and you guys know, like this week energetically, wow. It's just like we had like the full moon, lunar eclipse, Lionsgate, you know, and it was just like a lot of energy. And then I taught my class, and afterwards I was just like, okay, I need to refuel. And so I took a bath, and I posted about this on my Instagram stories, but this blend Release and Valor were my two, because I was gonna have to keep working the rest of the night. So I really wanted like a reset. And these two, if you know Young Living oils, I would check these out. These two are real. I'm gonna be getting these again, and it's technically Valor 2 because I grabbed the one from the Feelings kit. I have Valor as, yeah. Release is really incredible, Leslie. I have really, really liked it a lot. And Sarah, who is very knowledgeable about oils as well, has been using it on her liver, and she's doing the Feelings kit class tonight actually. So I'm going to be joining that because I have it. I have the Feelings kit, and the Release is really incredible. I actually gave it to my husband last night. We're both using it a lot and just like huffing it. Like it's awesome. That's been the one, that one and Inner Child from the Feelings kit, and okay, they're all pretty good, but Inner Child and Forgiveness have been pretty great. I've been anointing my hair with Forgiveness, and I'll just do like a little drop of jojoba oil and add a drop of something like Forgiveness has been what I've been doing lately, and I'll rub that in my hands and then run it through my hair, and then I kind of have that perfume happening throughout the day. And the Forgiveness one is a really, really, really beautiful one, and I like it in my hair a lot. Okay, what else? Inner Child's really beautiful. I was gonna say that peppermint has about 1 million uses, and I love it for bug bites, but I've actually switched over and started using lavender for my bug bites. So just for me, I'm getting into my 3rd trimester. I I want to just get out of the habit of overdoing it too much with the peppermint, because I don't think that there is any research that backs this up, but I think that there's some wives' tales that if you use peppermint, it can kind of help or like reduce your milk production a little bit. So I'm just like easing away from and trying to find like what are some other things to use instead of peppermint, although my husband uses it a lot for headaches. So this bottle pretty much, I think he's probably going to end up just taking it with him to work because he'll put it on his temples and the top of his head, and really helps him with, you know, just spending a lot of time in the computer and things like that. So probably won't be long and he'll be snatching that bottle from me. The nice thing about these is that it has been really nice that my whole family's kind of getting into it now, which is fun. It's like, I feel like Dr. Mom a little bit. It's nice. What are some others? The facial I did, I wanted to tell you guys. So another beautiful ceremony that was guided, actually that trip to Mount Shasta I was telling you about, when right before I went on that, Isis, I was working with her and preparing for one of the mystery school classes, and she guided me through a really beautiful oil massage for the face and the neck and your throat chakra, and at that time guided me to use peppermint for my throat. And it's something that typically when I'm working one-on-one with a client, usually we do some throat chakra work, we'll just say that. Usually there's some clearing, always some clearing that can happen there. And so at that time she was having me really use the peppermint on my throat and then the frankincense on my face. And so frankincense, though, I found out last night, especially this young, which by the way, I've already used half the bottle. I just got this thing. I'm using it a lot. I use it a lot. I anoint myself with it almost every day. I share it a lot. Like, it's so beautiful. So this thing I'm going to be ordering more of soon, apparently, because I just realized it's about halfway gone. So what I did last night, though, I got a carrier oil of coconut, I think it's coconut, and added a drop of frankincense and rubbed it and did that facial massage on myself last night. And I'll have to maybe do another class just on this, because you get into your jaw and like really work out your tension in your jaw and around your ears, and you'll find once you start really getting in there, especially if you have some oil on your hands, you will really start to feel there's some knots and some tension, and you start to make some really funny faces, and you just go for it. And then the same on your head, like kind of doing like the scissors thing, like this on your forehead. So so that I'll have to do maybe like a whole class on like facial massage and the different pressure points that we can work with. And for me, I really like frankincense on my face because it works with fine lines and so good for your skin. So so that is another way that I'm really loving frankincense quite a lot. I mean, you do that before bed and it's a beautiful night. It's a beautiful night. So this one is, it's just incredible. It's like, if you guys don't, if you've never experienced frankincense before, please message me and I will send you a sample of it, because it is like, it is an oil that I think I don't know, I think it can like change your life. It's in a really beautiful way. So I think it's really special. And I was just introduced to frankincense like a year ago, so I haven't been working with it that long, and this one's really incredible. So I've already used half the bottle. It's really special. So yeah, so message me if you're not into Young Livings and you want a sample of this. I would be happy to send this to you. And the lavender, I think, is quite I had some other lavenders in my house, and when I got this one, I compared it to the others with my husband, and there was a noticeable difference in the way that it smelled. So that was really exciting. So those are a lot of the tools that I'm using, and the ways that I'm keeping up with, you know, really nourishing my body. And I started to like understand when I started using these, you know, I just got, I don't know, I just got it. I got why all the moms are always talking about their oils. They're really effective and really powerful. And the other one that I don't have with me, that I will say I'm using a lot and adorning myself with a lot, and just it's with me a lot. It's in the diaper bag right now, which I forgot to grab before this class because it needs to leave the house with me, is Stress Away. And that's another one that's in the I didn't know about it until I ordered that starter kit, and it is in there. And I just got a second bottle already, because that's another one, the same as my frankincense, it's already half gone. And I didn't even, and then like the other day I was like, what the heck? I like use this like crazy, but I love it, and it is really helpful for my daughter. And when we're out and about is when I really like to have it, because I just, the more empathic I'm especially being pregnant, I'm just more sensitive. When I'm pregnant, I'm more emotional. You know, it doesn't take much, and I'm like in tears. And so that Stress Away really helps kind of like bring it back to a calm place. So that one is really incredible as well. And would actually be one that if you haven't experienced that one, it's a really nice one, like to have a little bottle of it with you, so you can like, you know, smell it while you're out and in the places like the gas stations and all of the world. So those are some of my favorites right now, my favorite allies. I'm really happy I got to talk about Release again, because that's been such a special one. Valor is diffusing right now. That's the one I have diffusing when I do any sort of live video, because it just gives me that extra little boost that I need. So these are just very much, now I'm sure some of you can relate, when you're just like, when you're in your home so often, and really wanting it to feel like this temple space and like a space that you're so comfortable to come home to. These have really helped me a lot, and feeling much more like I'm creating a temple space and creating a space that's really, you know, helping energize me and keeping me really in tune with, you know, with my highest self. So so thanks for letting me share a little bit about that. Message me if there's anything you're interested in or have any questions about. Would be happy to chat with you guys. I actually saw a few messages coming through when, so I haven't read them yet, but I'll get to those hopefully if Lincoln stays asleep for just a little bit longer. Becca, I hope, if you're still here, I saw that you joined. I would love to know how your postpartum time is coming, sweetie, that 4th trimester. I know you're still there. Yeah, thanks for joining. I hope your babies and you are having a really good day. Yeah, and then I will, next week I've got another class where I'm actually giving away, I should have grabbed it. I'm giving away a roller bottle from Young Living of Rutavala. I would be totally keeping it for myself, but I can't use it while I'm pregnant. So I'm going to be giving it away to a lucky person who joins the class this Tuesday, and that one's in the evening. That one is, I want to make sure that that Lincoln's taken care of and she's not going to wake up and wander into the video screen. So we're going to do that one in the evening on Tuesday. So make sure you RSVP for that, and you can win a big really nice roller bottle of Rutavala, which has rue and lavender. Oh, I hear I hear a child stirring. So, but it's very wonderful for relaxing and going right to sleep. So, so that is happening on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. And then earlier in the day, I'll be at 1, we'll be doing the live video in the Modern Priestess group too. So, and we're going to be talking about ease, I think, is going to be the topic of defining ease and what that means for you. So, so I'll have 2 things happening on Tuesday, but the one in the evening, I'll be getting into some more oily things and giving away a bottle of roll-on bottle of Rutavala. What else? Oh, and then Faye and I are getting together soon and talking about kind of our story coming together and getting into oils together. And she's been like such a wonderful support for me. And so we're going to share a little bit about our story, which I think is actually just going to be like a really fun night. I'll just leave it at that. So thank you guys for being here. This was really, really wonderful for me to share and let you into just kind of the things I'm doing to support myself in my day-to-day and kind of at the end of the transition that we just took of, you know, like the major downsizing and major life changes that all really happened. Giving myself those few months to just focus on those things. So thank you so much. And really, really wonderful to share space with you. Have a good one.